Can I get a drum roll, please? Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Common Sense. I'm the host, the good guy. Before you go any further, I want you to like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification button so you know when I'm going on. Today I got a great guest. I like the biggest guest I can get. I got the queen on deck. I got my wife on deck, Tatyana. Today is, today is Mental Health Month. Well, it's the last day of Mental Health Month, so we're covering it a little bit of it. We're gonna talk about mental health, the subject everybody runs from. We need to have that talk more because we all have things going on with us, but problem is we don't want to share that. We bottle it in. No one don't want to have counseling and all that stuff. I got a counselor, Miss Stephanie, Dr. Stephanie. Shout out to her. But we need to talk about that more. So today, my lovely guest, we're gonna talk about it. So how your day going?
Good.
How's your mental health?
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you excited to be here?
I am.
Okay. How's your mental health?
I'm good today.
You good today?
I'm good today.
Good today. That's great. That's great. Being a woman, is it harder for y'all to express yourself when it comes to mental health? Because I know it is for guys. So.
Not really, but most of the time when women express their mental health, people will say that that's just something that kind of comes with the job. Because like if you're overwhelmed with the kids or you're overstimulated with like work, kids, home, when you express that, some people play that off like that's what you signed up for.
Gotcha.
If you have a lot of kids, you're overwhelmed, that's what you signed up for. If your
Right.
job's stressful but you keep going back, that's what you signed up for. So I don't think it's harder for women. It's harder for us to get people to listen though, to actually acknowledge that yes, we can struggle even though this is our job role. It's still a struggle.
Still a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it back. All right. Mental health, mostly, you have to go from where it starts to be able to go to deal with the past, to be able to get to the future, correct?
Right.
So for women, y'all go through a lot, a lot of childhood stuff, you know what I'm saying? A lot of childhood stuff. So how do y'all just put that in the forget about bank, and then when it comes up, but if you don't have the right teaching,
Right.
or the right counselor, or the site, how do y'all move forward from that? Because a lot of y'all deal with that like men do, but y'all bottle it in.
Right.
And, I think y'all worse than we are. Y'all bottle it in, but then it opens up and it shows later on through relationships and situations, and all that comes back. So tell me, let's go back from your beginning a little bit.
So to answer that question before we go into that, it kind of just depends on what kind of support system you have. If you don't have one that you can openly express with, you do bottle it up. And then the smallest inconvenience can make you blow your top. Like the toothpaste cap can be off and you will literally blow up, but it doesn't even have anything to do with the toothpaste cap. But if you don't have a good support system to where you can express yourself, yes, most people will bottle it up. And they will explode at the smallest thing to the other person. It seems small to them, like, why are you going off on me over a small disagreement? But it really is not the disagreement in itself. It's everything that the person's been holding in until that disagreement happened.
Understood.
But then other people who do have a good support system, who are allowed to express themselves however that looks, they could be taken as always complaining, or they're, like I said, this is your job, and it's like you're always stressed out. So it really can go either way. Some people do bottle their emotions up though, because some people just don't know how to handle that, especially if it's a situation they've never personally been through.
Okay. So before we go any further on the other side, this is a question of, what do you do for a living?
A nurse.
You're a nurse? What's your position as a nurse?
Right now, I am in my 5th year of LPN nursing. I'm in school right now to transition to RN.
Okay.
So this is, like I said, my 5th year, and I love it.
Okay.
I do.
So a lot of people, because I know, a lot of people counted you out.
Yeah.
3 kids, young, and and oh, she'll never do this and she'll never do that. But just talk about a little bit of that right there, because a lot of people count black women out, women in general, especially black women though. They count them out because they past.
Oh yeah.
And they, the history of them. But I'm gonna give you your flowers now, and I want you to elaborate on that to let them know who you are.
Okay. So, I had my first kid when I was 15. He was born in August. My 16th birthday was in December, and as soon as I had him, that was the thing. I'm from a small town, so of course everybody knows everybody. So that was the biggest thing. Oh, I was gonna have kids back to back, or I was gonna be a drug addict, or just all the things. Never anything positive. As soon as I had the baby, it was my life was over. I wouldn't be able to do any of the things I wanted to in life. I was just gonna keep reproducing. It was very discouraging, especially as a young person who kind of maybe needed some different guidance.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that kind of separated me from my peers was I never allowed anybody to put me in a box.
That's right.
Never.
That's
I have
right.
never allowed anybody to put me in the box that they had designed for me, because that's not what I wanted for my life. So I did have my first kid young. I had my second kid when I was 20. And then I had my last one, my third one, when I was 23, and I'm 30 now. And I don't plan on reproducing anymore. But by this time, I'm married. People said I would never get married. Been nursing for 5 years, back in school. Like all the things people said I couldn't do. And it wasn't so much of, well, let me show you. It was more so proving it to myself.
That's right.
Because I didn't want to end up as that stigma.
That's right.
So it takes a lot. It takes a lot, especially, like I said, from coming from somewhere that you've been your whole life and people just instantly down you just make you feel like you're not going to do any better. So it was more personal for me.
And me knowing the story, I just think it need to be shared more often, because family members and, the tear down is real. When it comes from everywhere, family members, friends, you expect that from your enemies.
Right.
But dealing with that, did you look at it like God failed you, or?
Not really. Like when I was pregnant with my first kid, obviously I think I was going into my sophomore year of high school. I actually had some people tell their kids that they couldn't be around me. Like I was just the worst of the worst. So a lot of my friends that I had weren't allowed to be anywhere around me because I was the one that got pregnant. And it's crazy to say, but at this point in life, I'm doing better than a lot of people that they told not to be around me.
Let's talk about it.
And that was another push. Like, I don't feel like God failed me, because I had a choice, and I did what I felt like was right. I was given the choice when I found out to go down the road or to keep it, and I chose to keep my child because I did that. So it wouldn't have felt right to me to give him up off of something that I did. Understood. So I kept the child. He'll be 15 in August. He's flourishing. He's doing things at 15 that I didn't get to do. So I'm very proud about that. I'm very proud that he's not walking down the path that I did. I'm very proud. So again, and it's not even just me that I was not going to let them put in a box. I wasn't going to let them put him in a box because he had a young parent, or has a young parent.
So that affected you how you raise your kids well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have a daughter. So
I do.
Okay, so you got to see, you think, okay, well, a lot of times it be generational talk.
Oh, yeah.
If your mom had you, if you had one at 15, your mom probably had one at 15.
Yep.
Your grandmother, it goes down the line. But a lot of times, someone have to be there to stop it.
Oh, yeah.
And, so how that affected you raising your daughter?
So I'm very open with her. She is 10, but we have all kind of life conversations. I swear she's been here before, because the conversations we have at 10, nobody had those with me at 10. Like, she is very advanced. She's very smart. But we just had this conversation the other night about the generational curses, and I told her I had a baby when I was 15. My mama had my older sister when she was 15, 16. My grandmother was the only child. I had 5 kids. And her first kid she had when she was 15. So I told my daughter, for you to break this generational curse, I need you to make it across that stage with no kids. I need you to make it past the 15, 16 mark with no kids. I want you to live your life. And, you know, she kind of understands what I'm talking about, but you know, once I finally broke it down to her, 'cause like I said, I don't talk to her like she's a kid. I don't talk to her like she's an adult either. I come down to where she is, but I kind of make her understand it would have to be you because you're my only girl.
Right.
So for you to get past this point with no kids would break the generational curse.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But going through that, what was your mental statement? You know, what was your mind frame? Say when when you had Dre.
Hmm.
Let's talk about some of the hardships between that. You know, because only reason why I want to talk about this because a lot of women they need a blueprint. The girls was going through that. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to figure it out and they don't. So I know a lot of women, you know, young women DM you now.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about that so they can understand how to go through those steps and what you had to do to get yourself out of that frame.
Hey everybody, it is Raven, your favorite real estate agent, and today we are in Marietta Square. Now Marietta is located in Cobb County, but you guys, the square offers tons of local dining, shopping, a theater if that's something that you're into. Now Cobb offers some of the best school districts here in the state of Georgia. Now Cobb is not only home to Truist Park, but also Six Flags Over Georgia. So it offers the perfect balance for you and your family. So if you're interested in moving to the area, please don't hesitate to reach out to your local real estate agent and give me a call.
Hey y'all, it's your fave independent nail tech from Nurse T's Nail Studio. I am Tatyana. I want to thank y'all so much again for y'all's unwavering support thus far. I have upgraded my services. I do offer nail and toe combos now, or just acrylic toes, whatever it takes to suit your look. Y'all come sit with me, come vibe with me, come check me out, located in Rome, Georgia. I just one hurdle at a time. I mean, it was very tough. It was hard. I think when I was pregnant with Dre, I got kicked out of my house twice. So 15 pregnant and kicked out twice was not good mentally for me. But looking back on it, it helped me to the point where I knew what type of parent I wanted to be, because we all kind of model what, like, you know, after our parents. Like if my parent was this way and I figure out, oh, I don't like that from my kids, I don't want to do that. But so it helped me. I mean, I couldn't see it then because you can't really see the outcome of the storm when you're in the middle of it. But I mean, it was hard. It was hard. I walked to work after school every day. I had to get somebody to come pick him up so I could walk to work. It was a lot. It was very hard. Again, because I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have anybody to be like, hey, it's going to be okay. And I needed that. So eventually I had to tell myself that, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I just, every loss I took, I had to take it to the chin. Because, I mean, what could I do? I couldn't fold. I had a baby. Right. So, I didn't really get to have the standard high school experience. I decided to go out to this building we had and graduated early. So, because I was already working. Like, I already had a family.
Noted.
Yeah.
She made it across.
I did.
She made it across. She did the walk.
I did.
Through all that adversity, she still made the walk.
I did.
Continue on.
I did. Picked him up right after I got off the stage, actually. They wouldn't let me walk with him, but
up.
he was right there at the end when I walked by. But, yeah, it was hard. It was very, very hard. I didn't have anybody I could really turn to, so I had to be my own support system for a long time.
How long did it take you to realize, I need some help? I need to go get some counseling. I need a therapist, when, you know, because mental health had to be the last thing on your mind at that point in time, because, you know.
Because, see, as a mom, as a woman, sometimes you don't have time for your own mental health. You have to take on everybody else's. So I have to take on his problem, her problem, her problem. Like, I'm holding everybody else's problems and not catering to my own.
Right.
So I probably figured out I needed some counseling probably in my early 20s. Just angry. Just not, and I wouldn't say angry for no reason, just angry at the hand I was dealt. Proud of the way that, you know, I went about it, but just angry. Like, some of that stuff I feel like I didn't deserve to carry. Some of that weight was not mine. So once it got to the point where I was angry all the time, I was lashing out, I knew then I needed somebody besides me. I needed some help.
But you knew you needed some help.
Yeah.
It got to that point.
Oh, yeah.
That's why mental health is so important, because we can't do this by ourselves. You know, us men, I mean, I don't know, ego situation. I mean, for instance, they used to call me Big Sheep. And I got to a point in life, I say, man, take the big off and just call me Sheep. Because we live on this ego trip so much where we thinking the God gift of women and we just are, you know, it's
And
our
he
way.
definitely thought that.
It's our way or the highway, things like that. You know, so it's like we have to get out of that mind frame. So I had to go get counseling. And that was the best thing that ever happened in my life, to realize I don't have to be this image I created over all these years. I don't have to be that. I could just be me. Because half the time people create your image for you and you don't even realize that. So, but this how men, you know, men, I got a topic coming on that the next episode. But anyway, so when you did realize that, you got counseling.
I did.
Okay, how did that work out?
It was very hard at first because, you know, when you've not really had somebody to talk to go to somebody who's actually listening, the first question is going to break you down. Like, tell me about your childhood, and if you had a rough one, that's innocent tears. Like, but having somebody who is non-biased, they don't know you, you don't know them, they have no reason to judge you. That's what everybody needs. You cannot get good mental health support from your friends. You can to an extent, but they're biased. They're your friends. They're going to tell you whatever makes you feel better, even if it's wrong, because they want you to feel better. So that's not, I would never say take real mental health advice from somebody who is biased.
Right.
So everybody needs somebody who does not know them at all to just sit down, listen, get that off of you, because the longer you carry those chips on your shoulder, it will reflect relationships, work environment. Like, it's going to come out and you're going to be deemed as the angry one, when in reality you just really need somebody to talk to.
So how does that work? Say your spouse is giving you great information and telling you things about yourself, because one thing about life is you get comfortable in being you. So you won't never tell, you know, when someone trying to tell you about yourself, oh, that's not me, you know, you'll never agree to that. So how does that work when your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever y'all want to call it these days, you know, how does that work when they giving you great criticism about yourself, constructive criticism about yourself? How does that work?
Well, it's hard.
It's hard.
If you have not realized or came to terms with this is who I am, then it's very hard. Because as women, we have if I'm cooking and I'm cleaning and I'm taking care of the house, I'm taking care of him, I'm doing every single thing right. But when a man, your partner, whoever comes and say, hey, you might need to work on this, when you feel like you're doing everything right, it's like a blow to the ego.
Right.
Like, okay, I thought I was doing everything right, but apparently I'm not. So until somebody finally sits down and gets their own, you know, demons in line, they're not going to be able to receive that from you, because they're going to think they're doing everything right.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to hear somebody tell you that, okay, you might think you're doing everything right, but you're not doing, you know, you're not doing it as good as you think you are.
Right.
But then
right.
there's also a way to go about it. If I want to give my partner some type of criticism, I should know my partner by that point. So I need to cater my affect to what my partner can receive without them being defensive. Because once the defensive wall comes up, they're not going to hear nothing else you're saying.
Correct.
They're going to think it's an attack instead of a conversation.
Yes, they are. Being in a relationship or a marriage, to me, I always say the mirror is undefeated, because it is. But when you're being married or anyone you want to be with in your life, y'all have to mirror each other sooner or later. So you have to mirror each other to understand he won't tell you nothing wrong or she won't tell you nothing wrong, because you only pick a person because it's something you've seen before. And your mama or your daddy or someone very important in your life. It could be an uncle, it could be an auntie, but you mirror that.
Yeah.
So in a relationship, you have to mirror that with each other. So that way, you know, I would never tell you, you know, nothing wrong. So that shit automatically.
But I mean, it still goes back to the affect, because if you are, let's say you are aggressive by nature with your tone. If I'm already in a fragile state, like a fragile state of mind, and even if you're telling me something that's helpful, the tone of your voice is going to make that conversation seem a little different.
Gotcha.
So even if, yes, I know this is my husband, I know he would not hurt me, if I'm already in a fragile mind state and you come at me aggressively, I'm not going to hear anything you're saying. It's going to be perceived as you're attacking me, which puts my mind in fight or flight mode. So at this point, everything is shut down. I don't hear anything you're saying except what I'm not doing right, which also contributes to the downward spiral of the mental health. So if you have a partner, one of the best things, like I said, is counseling, but let that person kind of find out, what type of person they are. Because, if you have a partner that has a bipolar disorder or they are chronically depressed, you have to figure out how you can support them in that so that when you are talking to them, it's not perceived as an attack. Because if you have a partner that's bipolar and let's say they're going through their depressed phase, because it's either manic or depressed or bipolar. If they're depressed and you come again and you're not really bipolar, so you don't understand how your words are about to affect them. If you're saying it, oh, I said it like I would always say it, but they're in that depressed state, that's taken a whole different way. So the message never gets across because the confrontation seems like it's an attack. So you have to be able to cater to what type of person that you're married to.
So it matter what you say, but it matter even more how you say it. Okay.
Yes.
That's understandable.
Motherfucking real ghost. These niggas ain't ghosts, they weasels.
That's the thing. So again, just from talks, a lot of women go through growing up, things that happen when you're a child. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of men we can relate to it, but some things that can happen to us, and we'll never talk about it until we get to a point where we can finally release from it. So the deal is like, how do women go through the childhood trauma? How do y'all mask that? Cause that's huge because, women, y'all been treated horribly for a long period of time. And y'all carry on the baggage, same as we do, from the last relationship and everything else, abused by, God. It don't have to be physically abused. It could be mentally abused.
Right.
So even with that, what's the next step from that?
So normally if there was some type of childhood trauma in women, you're going to have three type of women. I'll say three types, really two, but I'll say three. You're going to have the one that's super independent. Don't need nobody because they have put on this armor shell where they know that they can only rely on themselves, so they're overly independent. Gotcha. Like you're not gonna get nothing from them because all they can see is themselves because they've saved their self from whatever and put these walls up, so now they're overly independent. Or you have the hypersexual one, the one that, oh, she's a hoe, she's this, she's that, but in reality somebody's probably done abused her, and that comes out as hypersexuality. And then you have the one that's a ticking time bomb. She can hold it in, she might lead a normal life, and then like I said, the drop of a dime, that one thing can bring it all out, and then you could get Susie Homemaker done went out and killed somebody, and everybody's trying to figure out why would she do that, but the whole time she had all this stuff that she needed to let out, and she didn't. So that one inconvenience just changed her whole life because she's never had a way to get it
breaking point. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So we all need therapy.
Oh yeah.
Because if we don't, we gonna have those moments where we just lose it. I don't want to talk too much about men because I have another show coming. Next episode will be handled all that. Next month is June, which will be Men Mental Health Month, and we're gonna get down on that month because guys, we know we are tired of getting a pair of socks for Father's Day. But no, you do more.
Wow.
But anyway, it's just glad to see that you are able to come out of that You know, so even with that, family, what does family mean to you? Or how do you feel about family?
I feel like the family is somebody that caters to your mental needs, your mental health. Like, and let me just say this: if you have a family history of mental health, and a lot of people don't know if they do, because a lot of things,
Correct.
especially in our community, are swept under the rug or labeled as something else. Like, you might have had a cousin who's been autistic his whole life, but somebody be like, oh, don't talk about him, he's special. But special how? But the whole time he's really autistic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, family is, I don't really know how to answer that. I feel like my family are the people who cater to what I need, and I cater to what they need, and I feel like I can go to them for anything that I need, no matter what it is, not even financial. Just even if I need to talk, that's what a family is to me.
Okay. How do you feel about your family? How you gave me the correct answer. I'm just saying, we're just trying to.
I feel like my family, especially the women, have a lot of unresolved mental traumas.
Okay.
And because everybody has their own mental traumas, and maybe some people have healed theirs and some people have not, there's always a clash. There's always a clash with the women in my family. Like, it never fails. And again, like, I have a sister, my oldest sister. My mama worked. She worked nights. She had 4 kids. So my oldest sister became the parent. And not really saying she resents us for that, but she had to take on a role that wasn't hers to take on. So now she is an overly independent person. She feels like everybody owes her something because she had to be a parent when she was still a child. Okay, so then it's like, in my perspective, being the youngest out of 4, I didn't really see my mama. Like, she worked nights. So when she was at work, we were asleep. When I got up to go to school, she wasn't there. She was on her way home. So it's just different for all of us. But yes, I would say, like, the women in my family have a lot of unresolved traumas, and until somebody wants to break the silence and put them all on the table, it's always going to be a clash within that setting.
And we can do it here on Comedy Common Sense if you want to. We can really do it. That's the thing, knowing is everything, understanding coming lately. But you have to be able to say, you know what, I need help, and reach out to someone to have a counselor or have a talk. There's nothing wrong with talking to someone about your problems. We all have it. We all need it. Go out there and find you a counselor, man. Find you a therapist, and y'all work that thing out, man. Make yourself better for your future and your kids and everything else. Make yourself better. I want to talk about this real quick, too. Give me a take on black nurses, because I know a lot of time on black nurses, things y'all deal with, that's a mental health situation too. So give me a little bit on that.
It's hard. We automatically have a target. So I will say for myself, I became a nurse when I was 25. So I've always been the youngest one on the floor. Always. Like, it never failed. Anywhere I've ever went, I'm the youngest one on the floor. So that's a target. Being young, target. Being black, target. Educated, that's another target. So it's like I always have to prove myself. Like, let's say you were my patient and I went and was like, hey, I feel like Mr. Such and Such is showing signs of a stroke. But then one of my other counterparts, they say the same thing. I'm going to have to prove why I think that you're having a stroke. But they don't. It's like, just as soon as they say it, we're going to go into action. But I have to prove why I feel that way. So it's very hard mentally. It's like you're never good enough. So you feel like you can't stop there. You have to keep going. You have to keep climbing the ladder. But even, when you climb the ladder, you'll still realize that some people just don't feel like you fit in that scenario. So you're always trying to prove yourself.
Yeah. So it's a hard thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
Basically, it's more of a proven thing, even though the paperwork shows something totally different.
We can have the same title, but I still have to prove that I know what I know, that I know what I'm talking about, all because of what I look like.
We have a bit. All right, so last thing, and we out of here, because we talk forever on this subject. What do you got coming, and tell people where they can reach you at? And I know you do nails, so let's talk about your nails journey. How did that work?
It actually stemmed from people canceling on me all the time. I have always been a nail person. Like, I am every 2-3 weeker. Been that way for a long time. But it got to a point where a lot of people were canceling appointments like day of, all the things. So I dreamed it. It came to me, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it on my own. And I am kinesthetic, so that means if I can touch it, I can learn it. It doesn't matter what it is. If I put my hands on it, I'll figure out how to do it. So I started July of last year. I've been doing it for 10 months, and it's a lot of trial and error, especially when you're doing something that caters to the general public. It's a lot of trial and error, but I love it though.
Okay. What message will you give the young girls out today for who think they can't make it and got kids and want to be in their profession but they don't know how to do it? What message would you give them?
Never give up, never not be teachable. No matter what stage of life you're in, always be teachable. Because there's something you can learn from anybody. You can learn something from anybody, I promise you. But just never let people put you in a box. Never top out, never stop being teachable. If you want it, you can literally have it. There's nothing in this world that somebody else has done that you cannot do. If they can do it, that means it's doable. That means you can achieve it. All you gotta do is put your mind to it.
And get a therapist.
Uh-uh.
I mean,
But I will say this before we go. That is another thing about nursing, since we brought that up. A lot of Black women are nurses too because we're nurturers. Like, we are nurturers by nature. So a lot of people go into nursing because somebody did not save them. So now they feel like they can save everybody else. So it's like a superhero complex. But if you notice, the number of Black nurses has risen dramatically. But a lot of them do have a story, and most of them is a story of somebody not coming to save them. So now they're saving the world, essentially.
Great.
So, yeah. Be nice to your nurses.
Be nice to your nurses and get a therapist. I'm going to say this again. But let them know where they can reach you at on all your platforms.
I'm on TikTok. That's my biggest platform. It is the lit nurse. I'm trying to get the Instagram thing together. It's not happening. So I will always say TikTok will be my best platform. It is @the lit nurse.
All right, man. So we're wrapping up the episode, and I just want to say this, man. Y'all make sure you get a therapist. Find you someone to talk to. Sometimes I know money, the economy the way it is, so I know it's kind of hard. But find someone to talk to.
Chat GPT. They're good therapists, by the way.
Get some good therapy and make yourself better for the next person and for your kids. Thank y'all for chiming in again to Uncommonly Common Sense. I mean, another great show, man. I mean, I could talk forever. But I'd just like to say thank you to my staff and everybody for coming out today. And again, like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification button so you know the good guy's on. Hey, man, y'all have a great day. Signing off, the good guy.